What if the safest country in the world suddenly became one of the most strategic battle zones on Earth? Most people think of Australia as a paradise, but military planners in Washington, Beijing, and Canberra see the most critical piece of real estate in the entire Indo-Pacific. By the end of this video, you will understand exactly why Australia isn't just a bystander in global conflict. You'll understand why the United States has quietly turned Australia into one of its most important military outposts in the world. Why its ports, its airfields, and its geography make it irreplaceable. And why Australia is now at the center of it all. To understand why Australia matters so much, you need to look at the map differently. Forget continents. Think about sea lanes. Right now, approximately 60% of all global maritime trade passes through the Indo-Pacific. Every year. That's trillions of dollars in oil, gas, and microchips. It is the literal bloodstream of the global economy. And Australia sits at the southern anchor of all of it. To the northwest, the Indian Ocean. To the northeast, the South China Sea. To the east, the Pacific Ocean. The U.S. Navy's home turf. Australia is the only developed democratic nation in the Southern Hemisphere that sits at the intersection of all three. Darwin, Australia's northern city, is closer to Jakarta, Singapore, and Timor-Leste than it is to Sydney. And that fact alone has changed everything. Here's something most people don't know. Right now, there are American Marines permanently rotating through Darwin, Australia. The program launched in 2012, and every single year, the number of troops grows. By 2025, the rotation had expanded to over 2,500 U.S. Marines. They are training, exercising, and preparing for exactly the kind of conflict no one wants to name out loud. But it doesn't stop there. Pine Gap. Most Australians know the name. Few know what really happens inside. Officially, it's a joint defense facility, a polite name for one of the most important signals intelligence stations on Earth. Pine Gap tracks ballistic missiles in real time. It intercepts communications across Asia, the Middle East, and the Pacific. Some analysts call it the single most important intelligence asset the United States has outside its own borders. In a conflict involving China or North Korea, Pine Gap becomes target number one. Alice Springs becomes one of the most strategic places on the planet. In September 2021, something happened that sent shockwaves through Beijing and Paris at the same time. AUKUS was born. The centerpiece: Australia would acquire nuclear-powered submarines. Not nuclear-armed, nuclear-powered. The difference is enormous. A nuclear-powered submarine can travel at over 25 knots, virtually silently, for months without surfacing. It doesn't need to refuel. The ability to project power from underwater, anywhere, for months on end, changes the entire military equation in the Pacific. France was furious. They had a $90 billion submarine contract with Australia that was cancelled overnight. It was a major diplomatic crisis. But Washington considered it worth it, because AUKUS represents the most significant upgrade to the U.S. military alliance network since World War II. Australia is being transformed, quietly, systematically, into a forward operating base for American military power in the Southern Hemisphere. Here's where it gets truly strategic. Australia has some of the finest deepwater ports in the Southern Hemisphere. HMAS Sterling, outside Perth, is already one of the most capable submarine bases in the Asia-Pacific. From 2027, U.S. nuclear subs begin rotating here. Then there's the airfields. RAAF, based in Darwin, south of Darwin, is undergoing a $1.1 billion expansion. New hardened aircraft shelters, extended runways, advanced fuel and weapons storage, all built for a specific purpose, capable of accommodating B-52 bombers, the same aircraft that delivered nuclear weapons during the Cold War. Now, operating from Australian soil. The United States is investing in Australian infrastructure at a scale not seen since the Second World War. History doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Now, let's talk about the elephant, or rather, the dragon, in the room. China's military budget now exceeds $200 billion. Its navy now has more warships than the US Navy by hull count. And it has built artificial islands in the South China Sea. China's goal is to deny US forces access to the Western Pacific, what military planners call anti-access area denial, or A2/AD. Here's the critical fact. Australia sits almost entirely outside China's current A2/AD missile envelope. China's most advanced missiles have a range of 4,000 kilometers. Darwin is close, but Perth is over 5,000 kilometers away, which means Australia is, for now, a sanctuary, a place where the US can base forces and project power beyond China's reach. For now are two of the most important words in geopolitics, because the gap is closing fast. Here is the big picture that most people miss entirely. Australia is not just strategically important because of its military bases. It's important because of everything underneath it. Australia is the world's largest exporter of iron ore, the essential ingredient in steel. It's the world's second largest producer of gold. It holds the largest known reserves of lithium on Earth. It is a top 3 exporter of liquefied natural gas. In the 21st century, wars are not just fought over oil. They are fought over the materials that power modern economies and modern militaries. Add to that, Australia is a Five Eyes partner, sharing intelligence in real time. Its signals network is woven into the Western Alliance's nervous system. Its population is small, but its landmass is the size of the continental United States. When you add it all up, Australia becomes indispensable. For most of its modern history, Australia has enjoyed a remarkable luxury: distance as a defense. The tyranny of geography turned into a shield. But in the 21st century, that equation is changing. Missiles don't care about oceans. Cyber attacks travel at the speed of light. The world has shrunk. And in a world that has shrunk, Australia's position on the map, once its greatest protection, has become its greatest strategic asset. Australia didn't ask to be at the center of history, but the map doesn't lie. And if the worst ever happens, it will find itself right in the middle of it. The land they once called the lucky country is now at the center of it all, not because of who it is, but because of where it sits. Subscribe to Only in Australia, because every week we show you exactly why this country surprises the world in ways no one sees coming.